Shalom, shalom, Israel. Shabella Hezekiah. Back at it with a quick lesson. America was built off slavery. Yes, America was built off slavery. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's the most high God of Israel, none else. And his only begotten Son of the world called Jesus Christ. I want to give a mighty shalom and shout out and double honors to all the elders from the house of David and all the elders worldwide. I want to give a mighty shalom and shout out to the brothers pushing this truth, pushing this gospel throughout the four corners of the earth. And I want to give a mighty shalom and shout out to the women and children that's praying, fasting, giving alms, doing the works, keeping the commandments and the faith of the Black Messiah, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Let's jump straight into this PowerPoint through the Spirit. America was built off slavery. The United States was built off slavery, not just through direct exploitation of enslaved people, but also through the economic, political, and infrastructural systems that slavery made possible. From the 17th to the 19th centuries, enslaved Africans and their descendants provided the labor that fueled America's rise as a global power, particularly in agriculture like sugar, cotton, and tobacco, trade, finance, and early industry. The profits from slavery helped build railroads, banks, insurance companies, and even northern universities. In essence, slavery was America's first great economic engine, deeply entangled with capitalism, expansion, and national identity. So everything that America has, all its businesses, corporations, industries, it was founded, the foundation, the building of it, the funding, the uprising of it, the boom of it, it started with slave money. According to Hilt, 2017, slavery in the U.S. economy, 1820 to 1860, and Slavery's Capitalism, the book, an estimated economic value of enslaved people in 1860 was $3 billion, more than all U.S. manufacturing, railroads, and banks combined, which would be 100 trillion in today's dollars in lost wages and stolen labor. So America owes the so-called African Americans, the slaves, the children of the slaves, $100 trillion. How America was built on slavery: agriculture, cotton, tobacco, rice, and sugar plantations were worked by enslaved labor, generating immense wealth for landowners and national exports. So even the Europeans profited off of slavery. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white people, the Spaniards, the English, the Dutch, the Germans, the obviously the small hats, the 1948ers, they also profited off of slavery. Okay, reading on. Trade and shipping. Northern merchants and shipbuilders profited from transporting slave produce goods and from the slave trade itself. So you see how even the northern states in America profit off of slavery. You would just think the southern states, right? Finance and insurance. Banks and insurance firms underwrote slave ships, plantations, and enslaved people as property. Industrialization. Textile mills in the north depended on cotton grown by enslaved laborers. Infrastructure. Slavery profits funded roads, railroads, and urban construction projects. Universities and intuitions, institutions, Slovakia. Many elite universities like Harvard, Yale, Brown, Georgetown were financed by slave related wealth. Mm. Political power. The Three-Fifths Compromise inflated Southern political representation, shaping early U.S. laws and leadership. You see, even slavery had a big part in how the laws were written, the different decrees, how much so-called black judges there are, so-called black senators and congressmen and officials of the United States, man. And guess what? There hasn't been no real African American Judite, Israelite that's been a president, vice president of the United States. Before we get into this slide right here, let me share this. This is from the United States Citizens Recovery Initiative Alliance, Inc. Companies and organizations directly or indirectly benefited from slavery. U.S. government used slaves to build White House, federal buildings, other buildings, canal improvements, extension construction, and in Argo activities in Washington, D.C. U.S. military used slaves. Faith-based organizations, the Catholic Church, Jesuit plantation in Maryland, and Georgetown University. Businesses associated in some way with slavery railroads, CSX Corp. Norfolk Southern, the Mobile and Girard, now part of Norfolk Southern, used slaves. Central of Georgia, at the time now part of Norfolk Southern, owned slaves. Union Pacific, Canadian, Canadian National, Slovakia. Newspapers, Knight Rider, the Tribune, the Media General, Advanced Publications, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, parents and publisher of U.S. Today. U.S. Today, Gannett, its parent company, had links to slavery. Consumer Goods, Brooks Brothers made clothes for slaves. Tiffany's, founded with cotton mill, profits from slaves working with cotton. West Point Stevens, textiles need verification. Banks and financial institutions. Brown Brothers, Harriman Brown Lehman Bros owned slaves. J.P. Morgan accepted slaves as collateral and owned slaves. Chase Manhattan Bank, Riggs Bank, purchased by PNC Bank. Bank of America accepted slaves as collateral. Wells Fargo Company, purchased by them, owned or accepted slaves as collateral. Fleet Boston Financial Corp. Aetna, based in Hartford, Connecticut, insured slaves, has helped African Americans. New York Life insured slaves. AIG bought American General Financial, which owns U.S. Life Insurance Company. U.S. Life used to insure the lives of slaves. Educational institutions. Harvard Law School, endowed with money from slave owner from Isaac Royal and Antoine. Harvard University recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Yale University recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Penn recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Columbia University recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Rutgers recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Brown recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Dartmouth recruited and raised money from slave owner families. University of Delaware recruited and raised money from slave owning families. Princeton University recruited and raised money from slave owning families. And the University of Virginia. Here's the sources right here. Okay. So you got universities, schools, banks, consumer goods, newspaper businesses, the military, the government, built off slavery, funded by slavery. Back to the PowerPoint. In the book Slavery's Capitalism, A New History of American Economic Development, cotton was the U.S. most valuable export, comprising 35% of all exports in 1831, 30 million value, and rising to over 50% by 1835, plus 500 million pounds was 65 million value. By 1839, more than 800 million pounds, 2/3 global supply, 80% from the Southwest, with 86 exported, 2/3 to England, 81% of England's supply. In 1860, 51.5% of U.S. exports versus only 15% for bread, right? Baked goods, bread stuff. Crazy. This isn't chapter 1, and also the chapters contours of cotton capitalism, pages 126 to 127, 129, 130. Okay. Same book. Slave capital exceeded the value of all U.S. railroads and factories combined. Foreign investment underwrote expansion in Louisiana and Mississippi. Slave mortgages total more than 150 million in Louisiana. You know what slave mortgages is? Slave mortgages is when a slave owner borrows money from a bank or a lender, right? The same bank that was built off the profits of slaves, use enslaved people as collateral, right? So basically, they promise the lender, if I don't pay you back, you can keep these slaves, right? So basically, we was treated as objects, right? So basically, it worked like a plantation owner wanting money to buy land, tools, or more slaves, right? The bank will agree to lend money. The owner listed enslaved people by name, age, and price. The bank accepted those people as financial security, right? If the owner failed to repay the loan, the bank seized and sold the enslaved people. Wow. Crazy. We was like property, basically. Wait, is a little bit on that. Let me keep reading on. Representing 80% of capital in the Louisiana Cotton Frontier in Mississippi, 90 million in debt for slaves. Right, between 1835 36, 3 million plus to traders. Crazy. Whole lot of money involved in this, man. Whole lots. Same book. Quotations. The 3 million white people in the cotton states were per capita the richest people in the United States, and probably the richest group of people of that size in the world. Page 13. So think about everything that is owned by the so-called white man today. The music industry, the sports industry, the media industry, the Hollywood, the different vehicles, different businesses, and 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 manufacturing factories. All that money, how it started up, the capital is off of slave money. America profited immensely from slavery. Advancements included westward expansion, infrastructure, and capital for banks, railroads, and textiles, propelling the U.S. to the second largest industrial power. To this day, benefits persist, inherited wealth, racial wealth gaps. Black families hold 1/10 of white wealth. Let's read it again. Black families hold 1/10 of white wealth. And and systematic inequalities rooted in slavery's legacy. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 13. Woe! Woe means destruction. Read it on. Unto him that build his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that use his neighbor's servants with outrageous, and give him not for his work. And that's what slavery is all about. First, they stole America from the First Nation, the brothers from the tribe of Gad or Reuben, the Native Americans. Then they enslaved us. We did hard labor, right? We worked sun up to sundown. They beat us. They raped our women, daughters, aunts, and sisters. They unalived you if you talk back. They lynched you if you talk back. They set you on fire if you talk back. They cut your hands off if you ain't do enough work. Cut your feet off. They thought about you, if they even thought about you escaping. We did all this work and did not get paid for it. It is wrong. They fed us slop. We malnutrition. You had breeders. You had just a bunch of torment and torture on these slave plantations. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that built a town with blood and establishes a city by iniquity. And that's what America was built on, blood. You know how many, the death toll of the slaves during that time, from the late 1400s to the mid 1800s? The much atrocity and, and torture and unaliving and lynching and tar and feathering and the sick, evil things they did to us. They established it by iniquity, man. They stole us, kidnapped us, treated us like animals, man. Woe unto them, destruction to them. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. The prey depart not. They ain't let us go. We still here in the land of our captivity. Verse 2. The noise of a whip. Hold on. What? Read that. I'm gonna read that again. The noise of a whip. And the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of jumping chariots. This is all slave metaphor, slave description, slavery. Verse 3. The horsemen lift up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none in of their corpse. They stumble upon their corpse. Think about all the deaths that happened in slavery. All right. Verse 4. Here we go. because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, America Babylon, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. James chapter 5, verse 1. Go to now, you rich men, who profit off of slavery? So-called white men. The 1948ers. Weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eating. Babylon is fallen. The economy is fallen. The money, the dollar is worth nothing. Verse 3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. You see that? The white man's money is not going to save him when Yahushua come back. The white man's money is no good. Yeah. Money is a defense. Yeah. Money could pay your bills and make life a little easier, but you can't take that to the grave with you. That old as white man on your dollar ain't gonna be in the kingdom with you. The gold and silver, the money you at America's money is finished, man. It's not worth anything. The petrodollar is failing. That's why the Trump administration is doing what they doing, trying to seize oil from Venezuela, from Iran. They trying to go up to Greenland because the U.S. money is about to be finished, man. And that's why they want to implement digital currency. That's why actual gold and silver is on the rise, because the dollar is done. Verse 4. Salaki. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, right? The slaves, the children of the slaves, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have wept are entered to the ears of the Lord of the Sabbath. We need to cry unto our Maker, cry unto our Heavenly Father, cry unto Yahweh. Ask him to come save us, deliver us, put us back in our homeland, and destroy our enemy. Verse 5. You have lived in pleasure on the earth. The so-called white man has lived in pleasure on the earth, man. They lived in pleasure. Read on. And been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You know what that means? They have nourished their hearts. The white man can buy whatever he wants, man. They have the luxury cars. They have the jets. They traveling to the quote-unquote moon. Right? They're the presidents. They're the prime ministers. They're the mayors, the governors. You understand? They own the basketball. They own the football teams. They own the baseball teams. They own the insurance companies. They own the media. They got the mansions. They got their own island, like Jeffrey. You understand? They got the Swiss accounts. Right? They passing down wealth generation to generation. Verse 6. You have condemned and killed the just, and he do not resist you. That's what they do. They condemn us and unalived us, man. Verse 7. That's my exhortation for my brothers and sisters out there. Verse 7, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. You see that? We got to be patient. Yahushua is coming, man. He's waiting for us to build the kingdom up, to do the works, to produce this precious fruit, to receive our calling, to repent every day, die daily, to wake up the hopeful elect, to endure the trials and tribulations, to pass that test, man, to endure the suffering, to sacrifice. You understand? It's the book Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So the same way we was in slavery, the same way our enemies is going into slavery. The same way the so-called white man captured us, shackled us up, beat us, put us in subjection, tormented, tortured us, unalived us, the evil acts against us, it's going to happen to them, man. But we're going to do it in righteousness. They will pay, because the Lord is just. Right? Hope you understand that America was built off slavery. America was built off slavery. America was built off slavery. All right? Just know that we will be free from a land of our captivities, man. Right? Don't envy the rich. Don't envy these heathens, man. Know that you got a kingdom. Know that you got the promises. Know that you got the new covenant waiting for you. And America is established off and built because of us, man. These people is on stolen land. Land with the blood of our ancestors. Land with the sweat and tears of our ancestors. And we find comfort in the scriptures, and we found comfort that payback is on its way. And with that, I want to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua, that's the most high God of Israel, nothing else. I love y'all. I want to encourage y'all to continue to read, study, apply, fast, do the works, gather with your people, and don't give up, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, come, Yahshua, Shalom.